Hello. We're back. We're back. I guess it was better to restart than to stay. Hi, Sunny. I love you. I can't wait for you to be on here and chit chat. Do you want to come on real quick? I'm doing an interview tonight, but I have about 15 minutes. I would love for my people to meet you. I miss you. This is my Sunny girl. Everybody go follow Sacred Places of Enchantment. You're working. Yeah, I just jumped on here real quick. Yeah, you guys go follow Sacred Places of Enchantment. She's the one that I said, I know when to step down. Like, I make my goddess oil, and I love my goddess oil with the lotus. But when I got her stuff, I was like, nope. Nope. I'm not making any more. I'm just buying from her. Nope. I know when something is not my calling and I realize it's someone else's, and it is hers. She's amazing. Her everything's amazing. It's great. She's in the lab. She does great energy work, and she just is amazing. So now you're amazing. So if you guys are the ones that live in Texas, she's going to do the shows. She's going to do them in Houston, but she's trying to get some in Dallas too. So definitely still go see her and all that stuff. Hi, Optimus. How are you? I'm going to be eating cough drops the whole time. Or Tic Tacs, because my throat. We're going to do kitty talk with Joe here in just a little bit. I can definitely take you. You're going to be working it with me when I go. Am I okay? Yeah. I'm good. I'm just getting sick or fighting a cold. Hey, Lisa. How are you? So yeah, there's definitely a shift going on. Definitely more of a push of what do you need to let go of? What do you need to let go of? And if you say there's nothing, I just don't believe that. There's something we always need to let go of. And I think that over the past week, it's been a whole lot of that for me of what things can you control and what things can you not control. We are so mad about things we have no control over. It's true. I do it too. Everybody does. You're drawn to my necklace. Thank you. I love it. I got a couple of really neat pieces. Kind of fun. We like to hold on to things and we don't want to let go, and we think we want to let go. And we also don't understand that initially when we start going through the spiritual journey and we start healing, we are not as equipped in the beginning as we are as we grow. And so sometimes you really do have to revisit some of those healing and growing pains, things that you thought you let go of, right? Because when you're healing and when you're going through stuff, you really have to feel your emotions, not feel it just with your thoughts, right? This is mine. I always wear this one. It's Tanzanite. It is called the, what is that called? Magician stone is the shape of it. It's to help you remember your power. I don't ever take that one off. But there is this push, and pull going on. And so many people are experiencing a lot of stuff. And people are acting different compared to what they used to. And people can say, no, that's not true. And it is true. But it's also the way we're seeing things, right? It's also not always just them. It's very much us, right? We're changing. We're just changing. And rightfully so. Community, The world needs to change. And I think that there's this bigger divide between the people. And you could call it timeline shifting, you can call it whatever you want. But the people that you used to deal with in a certain way, or sometimes they're fading away, right? And they're not so close. And it's easy to get mad or get upset or try and find out what you did wrong, to try and fix it because you want it to stay the same way, because that's the way that you're comfortable with, that's the way that you know. But it's so good to change, right? It's so good to change, and change is hard. Like, I am a creature of habits. I love knowing what's happening next. But if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing, right? If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So when you are uncomfortable, no, that's actually a healthy thing, because something's going on telling you to move. It's either telling you, hey, you're in the wrong environment, you need to get the heck out of there. Or it's saying, hey, you need to dig into this and find out why you're uncomfortable, right? Because people who are working through the healing process, you're going to be uncomfortable. I hope that you're uncomfortable, because that's how the universe pushes you to move. Right? You will not move unless you're uncomfortable. You will stay in a position, and it's just like when you feel pain, right? You'll keep doing the same thing till you feel pain, and then once you feel pain, you're done. You change it, and it's no different than the universe, right? And so think about those things. Think about the things that you want to change going forward. Like I said, there is a huge momentum I feel right now, but there's also a huge divide, and it is a division of what we don't need to be involved in anymore. And it doesn't matter. Is it blood? Is it family? Like, is it family? It doesn't have to be, if people cross your boundaries and don't respect who you're becoming, even if it's blood, they're not your people. And that's really hard to hear, and that's hard to tolerate, and that's hard to be around. But we all have these families we're born into for whatever reason. But if they cross your boundaries, they make you feel a certain way, it's time for you to look into that and figure out why. And understand that just because they're your blood family does not mean that that is your safe haven. I have like a surge of energy. Work. Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing is if you're doing that, it will help with the pain. It's not going to alleviate it. But when you're working towards something instead of just sitting there, pain gets worse when you're stagnant. Pain gets worse when it's stagnant, because then you have time to sit and think about it. And that's just ugly and gross. But there's definitely that stuff. So if you're feeling that, know that yes. Same. Same. It does get your mind off of it. I always do better no matter what in life if I have something I feel like I'm looking forward to. But I will say this before, in some of the classes, some of the things that I'm learning, and it's not that I'm learning, but I'm remembering, right? It's things that like we should know. And it's so interesting to think about. And one of those things is when I say pleasure, everybody always assumes it's about sensual things. And you can get pleasure from so many different things, right? You can get pleasure from a song. It brings you pleasure because you enjoy it. But that word in itself is so interesting because it has the connotation to it. There are so many other words that have the same connotations. But can you find pleasure in every point of your life? Like, Shelly, you've been hurting all day. What can you do to find pleasure? What can you do to find pleasure in your day? How can you incorporate your senses into what makes you feel good, right? And so it's such a powerful thing to think about. Pleasure. I always get pleasure principle. Oh. Pleasure principle. I'm not Janet Jackson, but I'm playing her today. Oh, thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Your pleasure is sleeping today. But it is, right? And so many times, like, we're always searching for a fix or searching for something that's going to make us feel better. So find pleasure in what you have right now, right? And then that creates that energy to bring more of it in because we're appreciating it. We're feeling good. We're feeling like citrine, citrine, citrine. Can't sing it right now because of my voice. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Optimus. But ways that you can incorporate pleasure into your life and using your senses to do it, right? And we talk about when we're manifesting, hey, Rebel, what does that bus look like? What does it feel like when we get on the bus, right? The floorboard probably cracks. I don't know. But it probably smells old and it probably smells like an old house, right? But when you start incorporating those things into what you're talking about, like sitting right here, I'll tell you where are your toes. That's me trying to get you to incorporate your senses into what you're doing. Okay? When you incorporate your senses, you're taking it out of your brain. When you don't, you're just thinking it. But when you start incorporating your senses, you're moving it from just being a thought into kind of a reality. Good, Rebel, good. I've done that myself. But it's true. So if you're just thinking, like right now, I'm just thinking about a bus. Just thinking about it. But when I start thinking about what it might smell like, what it might feel like, how do I feel whenever I see it drive into the driveway? And so you incorporate your senses, you bring it into the physical world. Right? Your senses aren't just in your brain. I mean, chemistry wise, maybe, but your senses are not just here. So when you're experiencing it through your senses, you're making it more real. And that is also how, when you're healing and we say feel the pain, usually we think about it. Right? Usually we only think about it. Because you're going to show up in the driveway, beep, 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 bitch. Hey, you ready? I'm going to sniff and snot all the way through. Is it an old school bus, an RV bus?
I have these glasses that look really.
Hi. You're like, do you want some
Oh
candy, little girl?
no.
Can you
No,
hear
we're
me?
not doing this again. What did we do last time? Oh, I
Uh,
don't even know if last time I heard you last time. You didn't hear me. I don't hear you.
you don't hear me?
Not again. What did we restart it?
Um,
That's what happened last time. I think that fixed
I
it.
think I kicked you out of the box and brought you back in.
Try to remove me and we'll try that again first.
Okay. Maybe disconnect. You'll hide now. Stop it. See, Shelly, that's why I love you. Shelly said you
Ooh,
need to put the mix negative. She wrote it down last time. Read the
mixing
notes.
it.
Yeah.
No, that's different. It's working now, I think.
Oh, is it? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, stick around. Joe's amazing. You don't have to disappear.
Everyone, yeah. Why would there's nothing why would you disappear from me? I'm like the nicest person. Yeah. Unless you have something to hide, then run. I'm just kidding. Just
Get
kidding.
out.
Yeah, these remind me of my grandfather, but then someone made a comment that like look like Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, which is fucked up.
That's funny. It just
Yeah.
it kind of does now that you say that, but it's funny. My brother, and this really isn't funny, but when he was younger, he pretended to be a kidnapper and he wore those and said, but
Not anymore.
no. My brother did it when he was like 12. That's his whole thing. He was trying to
Yeah.
hide. Put your glasses on.
I can see. Like I don't need to wear them, but
Rebel, tell him to put his glasses on. Keep your glasses on. Be you.
My other glasses broke, right? The nose piece, I didn't know. Like the rubber piece broke off, and I was like, I'm having some nerdy problems.
It's all
And
right.
then I went to the grocery store thinking they had those, like, those red, I didn't know this, but those red tubes that have like the fix your glasses
Hmm.
thing, they don't have those rubber pieces. They have like this fake bullshit nose pieces, which is, I thought they always had them for years, but now 2024, I found out that they don't. They're
Hmm.
fake little shits that are temporary. So I'm gonna have to go on Amazon or bring them to the place that I bought them from, and they'll fix them immediately. I just don't
Out there, you tape them. I don't think I
out
have.
there. Here we tape them.
I
Well, they don't break like that.
I have a lot of glasses, but the majority are hearts, big hearts, but they don't have the little pieces that break off. It's just all one because I'll lose
I've
it.
never had that happen. Like the rubber, those little rubber nose stopper things.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of glasses. I need to get new contacts. But no, I can see you perfectly fine. I can see you come closer. Come closer. Come closer. You look great in red, by the way.
Well, thanks.
Lady
I
in
always like to wear
red.
black,
Well, yeah,
but
I know, but I
it's
think the red, maybe that's
distinctive.
another thing. Like the red is popping.
It's a poppin'.
It's
It's poppin'.
popping.
You
So,
don't do it here.
I pulled back up to my job, and the garage door was fixed. There's two new panels where the panels, so everyone, I know that I backed up into my garage door at work today.
And it's already
My
fixed, so you
mom,
don't even have to worry.
I was like, Mom, how was your day? She was like, wasn't the best. I was like, how's your Valentine's Day? She was like, work sucked, And I was like, did you back up into a garage door though? And she started laughing. She said, no. I went, I sure did. um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I feel so much better.
Good. Good. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
I got home and I'm in such a like great mood.
Good. 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 I
I know it didn't seem like I was honest about it. I am. I'm just more surprised. I'm grateful.
well, I had a little mental blurb that I was gonna tell you about. I was like, maybe we should do the talk show called The Unbecoming of Kitty and Joe. The Unbecoming.
Unbecoming.
Because I was like, I always tell people, like, literally, we're unbecoming. Like, we're ripping away everything that we're
Mm,
not to find out who we are. Like, I was like, the unbecoming. I like the unbecoming. I feel like I'm unbecoming right now. That's what I'm doing every day is like
mm,
trying to be who I'm supposed to be, but I'm unbecoming who I am. It's weird. It's a weird thought,
mm.
right? It's
It's
weird.
a great thought. Letting go a piece of ourselves each episode.
It's true. It's true. So, everybody has been struggling that's in here. They're all just kind of like,
Whoa, this is great news.
and I was like, it's normal right now. I think everybody's going through it right now. So, we talked a little bit about,
Well,
like, I told them, like, this past week has been this, that I need to learn what I can and can't control. And it's going to keep coming at me until I figure it out. And so, I'm trying to figure it out so it'll stop.
mm. No, that's like the whole thing, right? We were
Yeah.
talking about this earlier. It's
Blah
really
describes
funny.
it, Jen.
So I love talking about stuff because it's either I learn about it or like our conversation. You said so many great things today, so I'm grateful.
Not me.
So many wonderful
It's
things.
all these people. But I'm glad that we
Yeah,
could get some stuff. Yeah.
I'm an amazing person. I just can't I need to hear
Yeah.
it from someone else that's also amazing. You're my equal
No,
amazing
you are
person.
amazing. Absolutely. No doubt.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
that's the thing. And the thing is everybody could tell you how amazing you are, and that's what we think that we need, but really it's you knowing that you are and loving all parts of you. That's no different for
Where
anybody
do we
else.
start? Where do we start? So there's a lot of people going through stuff,
Hmm.
and I mean, we can share. I definitely will talk about my own stuff tonight. I guess where do we start with this sailboat? Like how do we start navigating? Where do we begin?
Well, I mean, we could ask questions to other people and see where it goes if you won't. You want to do that? Do you
If
want to talk? What do you want to do?
well, I like reflecting and talking. I'll just start talking, I guess. So I think one of the common topics, even like you just mentioned, is or can you say that one more time? Wanting the clarity now or something, was it? We want to just figure it out now.
Yeah, I'm really bad about
Something
this
like
because
that.
sometimes I say things and I don't know where they come from and then I don't remember what I said.
Mhm.
It's kind of like when
So
I'm doing readings. I don't remember
yeah,
what I said.
something no, I get it. Something that no, it's really funny was I was talking to my friend Candace earlier today too, before you. And not that you're not important, it was just like
No, you're
just
good.
the how times
Yeah.
and I was following what she was saying, and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have ADD brain." And in my mind, I'm like, "Yeah, me too." And then she's like, "I totally forgot what I was thinking about." I was like, "Wait, hold up. I was following you and I totally forgot what we were talking about too." Like it's fucked up. And I
I
was
have
like, "Wait,
ADD
hold
too,
on."
so that's very well could be it as well.
Well, so recently I've been doing really I like to like give a recap on what's going
Mhm.
on in my life. Like I've been doing really well. Um, Tuesday I had a snow day, which doesn't really happen, so I got to stay home and I was down like in this rabbit hole of which I haven't done in a while. And I don't know if I told you earlier, but I've been really big on doors and
Mhm.
like actually like being in a room and going and before I like leave the room, I'm imagining like intentionally setting the door so when I open it, I'm going in a timeline.
Mhm.
So it was interesting. And then I didn't realize it, but I went into like my symbolism book that's right here. Bajillion symbols and some um
Nice.
signs and symbols. So I started getting into like stuff, and then I heard my guide tell me, "Don't worry about knowing it, just trust yourself in doing it." Kind of like painting and all that. I just kind of flowed, and then I started flipping through the book, and then I found another symbol associated to the symbol I was drawing, which connected to the thing I was drawing in the beginning. It was just synchronistic. It was fun. But then, my cousin, she is a well, yeah. Um, she doesn't. I love everyone, and I get it. She's a pain in my ass, and I kind of just I'm blunt with her now. I told her before I was like, "You're driving me nuts. You're a pain in my
Mhm.
ass." But I told her I was like, "Look, like I love you," but and I say this because maybe you too out there are also a pain in the ass. We all have this personal issue, and it kind of reflected on my day today too. It wasn't just her, but when we don't know something, it bothers us because we're just trying to understand, and she's trying to understand the spiritual things, but doesn't have to. If you're listening, it doesn't have to be spiritual. And the main part of this topic I want to say is that we have to learn sometimes to shift and put things down. And I found it kind of interesting because as I was trying to tell her that, I was on the phone with Kitty today because I was kind of losing my shit.
You
And I really just wanted, and I knew, and I kept saying it. And there was things that, Kitty, thank you for pointing out. Was you're absolutely right. But it's not always like the surface level of things that we're going through. And I wanted to put it down, and I knew that I needed to talk it out or navigate through it. And it took me a little bit. Our conversation really helped. And I do want to say that number one, sometimes in order to shift out of these moods, we have to take like the necessary steps, and it is going to be uncomfortable. It's
Mhm.
meant to be uncomfortable. Um, think about your old ways of thinking where you might repeat and be worried, and you're like, oh my God, this is going to happen. Your brain like just wants to just go down this whole train of derailing the train and just like, oh my God, it's horrible. And we have to be mindful. And I was being mindful. I just didn't really I needed to know the fuck I was doing because sometimes it doesn't really work that way. It's not that easy anymore. We're challenged to evolve into another
Yeah.
mindset. But I think the moral of the story of this topic for tonight or in general is knowing how to put things down or to maneuver out of it
Mhm.
and Our conversation went really well because I was kind of all over the place between my cousin's problems, which I knew weren't mine, my job, which was communication issues, and I was like, I have all these things, but really, when we were talking more about it, you kind of helped me through this awareness of back to self and these things that are triggering me and what's really the root. And it's not
Mhm.
that easy because we all have to sit there sometimes and really be honest with ourselves. And that's the part I think a lot of us challenged with. How do we heal through this? And you did say something earlier about how, and this is something that's common. We all think we're healed sometimes, but we're not. And I think that we're all like we try to like manifest or bring stuff in, and then while we're doing that, the universe is like, great. Before we bring this in, let's throw this at you, and so you can receive this properly. It's not going
Mhm.
to be fun. It wasn't a bad day. It just I wanted to feel safe and secure and love myself and feel confident. And I think that when we make mistakes, our my initial reaction was like, I fucked up. And my in my brain, I'm like, great, am I gonna lose my job?
Mhm.
What now? And it really wasn't that bad. And I think sometimes we create all this worry
Mhm.
for because it's just
We're
we
the
want to feel.
worst. We are the worst. We are the worst. We pull in things that absolutely don't make sense, and we convince ourselves that that's exactly what's happening. And sometimes it is, but more often than not, it's not. It's usually no one else has even said anything, and here I am like spiraling, and I do it too. I think we all do.
I think we all want success. I'm hearing my spirit guides talk about this, and I was talking to you about it earlier, um, and you had mentioned something that was really true, and I needed to hear it, and I also need to say it too, which was like sometimes, and I say this about money, it's easy with money for people. I'll say this first. Sometimes when people want to like they learn about manifesting, of course they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna win millions of dollars in lottery," and then it's not that easy because subconsciously somewhere your brain's like, "Yeah, let's see this happen," and
Hmm.
like you have to really believe it. But you mentioned earlier, which was true. It's like, yes, I do believe and feel I deserve and want success, and I feel successful. But deep down inside somewhere, there's a subconscious limited belief that's like, well, you went through all this stuff and you feel like you failed. And because I did go through a lot of stuff, but experiences are what makes us even wiser and stronger. And I'm still honestly working through this, but
Yeah,
I
you're
want to
good.
talk about it tonight. But I had been through many different things, and I don't want to discourage people. When I say many, I feel like it's a combination of spiritual experiences and problems and relationships and communication. And I think that I got tired of a lot of shit, and I was just like exhausted. And I really strive to be. At one point, I was really depressed and just wanted to find the answer so that I
Mhm.
can succeed and be happy again. But the answers that we need sometimes aren't what we think we're looking for. They're like rest,
Yeah,
be
that's
still,
powerful. It's true.
stop thinking, take a break. Because it's the path of least resistance. And I really wanted clarity on my journey at one point. I was like, I just don't understand how I can go through all this spiritual stuff and like I'm left here hanging and forgotten. Like that's how I felt. It was
Yeah.
by myself. Not everyone really understood my experiences and blah blah blah. And I kind of resented it. I resented it in a way where it's like, well, fuck, if I'm not gonna have all the stuff I need right now to move forward in life, and it was really my ego.
Yeah.
And everything happens for a reason and timing.
Mm.
And I really want to say this for everyone. Like, I know it's easy to say, like, oh, I don't have my ego. Like, you really got to put yourself in check sometimes because you might be in your ego space and you don't know it. But
Yeah.
um, but it's okay, as you realize later on, like you were hurt. Your ego somewhat tries to protect you, but it's not justification. Your ego could be a dick too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm the type of person where I want to be successful, and I am already. I still have to learn what that is to me. And I know that it's not about the material anymore. It's really about helping people. And I really need to stop getting in my way. And I think this is a big message we were talking about earlier,
Mm.
where you said something earlier. If you had all the money or whatever, you had no worries, like what would you do?
Yeah.
And I would really love to be a motivational speaker. And if you couldn't fail, and I know that I can't fail,
Mhm.
failing is just learning. It's not really failing.
Right.
And that's where people need to understand something like growing and being uncomfortable. Like when I thought about being a comedian, and I'd rather try everything than not. And I knew that the first time I went to an open mic, I would have an idea or something or write them down and just like blank out. And I was like, let's just get it over with. And I did. And I still got mad. But then the second time I got a little bit better. And the third time I recorded myself and, I got people to laugh. And you get more comfortable with things. And I think there's pros and cons with getting comfortable and uncomfortable. But
Hmm.
of course, today I didn't want to make a mistake. I was pissed off. I was angry because my communication at my job sucks. And things happened repeatedly, and I got annoyed. And then I backed up into a garage door and took it out. So, long story short is no one got in trouble. I didn't get in trouble. They fixed the door. I didn't get fired. They love me. Um, and I kind of had to be honest with myself. I was like, yeah, I got a little upset and angry. I need to learn how to like slow down and whatever. Like I overreacted about stupid little shit too. And what I'm really trying to communicate right now is I think we want things. I think we want more in life. We want to succeed in life, but we still have to go through. We talked about this earlier today too. We still kind of have to go through these experiences that make us better.
Yeah.
And some people might think like, how is this shit gonna make me better? I want to be over there. How does this relate? And it does.
It does.
It does.
It does because, well, I mean, if you think we talked a little bit about this too, it's like I wasn't in a bad place before I lost my brother,
Mhm.
right? But I did come from significant craziness in my family and stuff like that. They're still crazy, as a lot of you know. But the thing is had I not experienced that, I never would have done the 5,000 steps to get where I am right here. Like it just never would have happened. Not in the
Mhm.
same way. It could have been some other whatever. But when these things happen, it is a precursor to momentum that you can either choose to heal and move up or you can spiral down. And I'd
Mhm.
spiraled down pretty good. You know, I
Mhm.
I I remember that, and you've experienced stuff like this too. But like I remember the emotion, the outpour, the physical things that were happening, and that's what keeps it so real. And you do have to go through that shit. People who are struggle with addiction, people who struggle with loss, people who struggle with self-hate and all those things, like it's for a reason. And I've learned, and I told you this too, that the antidote is always in the poison, right? Because I was always
Mhm.
self-conscious and I always had all these things. And it's like, no, I don't want one single person to ever have to feel that way. There's no reason for it. And
Mhm.
then I can also help people. You're not alone feeling grief, you know, and we go through these things to be able to not be the same as everyone else and to be able to help others expand in themselves. And we don't think about the bad stuff that way. Not, I mean, you don't. I don't typically, unless I'm like sitting down and actually thinking about it. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fact. Yeah.
I also think that like even though the past of my journey was a part of me, I've
Mhm.
gotten to this point where I feel like I outgrew it, but it's a weird explanation. Like it's a part of me,
Mhm.
but then I think I got tired of talking about it. But okay, so the antidote is in the say it again
Yeah, in the venom.
poison. Mhm.
Because
And
like the way you heal from a snake bite, they take the antidote is literally within the snake venom.
You reminded me today of how I processed my emotions before. And I forgot about it because I don't know why, but and I think what I was saying before was that we all want to avoid our feelings when they're uncomfortable. Anger, sadness, like it's easy to just get wrapped up in that. And I don't think we all it might not be like exact perfect ways that we want to, but I remember being super depressed and like coming home and not caring about judgment. And
Mhm.
I decided to play music, cry it out. Like I had a beer and I was really like I said it before too, I was like, I'm not an alcoholic. I know that I'm not gonna overdo it. I just need this. And I like trusted myself and I chose to do certain things. And I also had to let go of judgment. I literally would come home, have a couple of beers, play music, cry, and that needed to come out. And I don't know like if anyone here like doesn't know, but my journey started because my ex committed suicide and passed on, and that was in 2018. But I had a lot of thoughts going through my head, and then
Mhm.
I was like, what if I didn't do that? What if I didn't leave her? What if and we all do the what ifs. And I think I had to go through all of the motions in a way. I had to be a pain in the ass about it. I had to overthink. Like I was asking people, their opinion on happiness. So like I just want to be happy. Like, what's your thoughts? And no one it pissed me off because no one was giving me an answer that helped me. I was like, all right, cool. Like, and I knew that, and there was a reason behind it, and it started to lead me into this journey of the spiritual awakening, which was like another problem. It's like, great, what is this shit? What is this? Why am I seeing this? And it
What
started
is this?
redirecting me. But to process my emotions and to really, I think I'm very dismissive of myself sometimes. Like, I want to say I'm too smart and I'll just jump over it. And I really need to be okay with sometimes feeling that. Because the more in tune we are with our emotions, the more in tune we are with our abilities and spiritual gifts or each other. And um, sometimes I think it's hard because I don't know where to start.
Mhm.
And I think that was the problem I had today. It was just too much going on in my mind about different things. And we do need someone to like help us a little bit. Sometimes we can do it on our own, but to start with your daily life stuff and to kind of go to the root is a process. And I think to start with something simple, start with one thing is important. But I do want to say this too because it's in my mind. We can we can be looking for so many answers or understanding, but I think the toughest truth is when we are actually understanding of ourselves. So, like for example, like I'm complaining about my job and the communication, but like there's something about me communicating with myself that's a problem. It's really like, if I'm really being honest, is a reflection of myself that I need to communicate better with my inner being more, which to me is surprising, but it's true.
Mm.
Like I can't deny that. I can't be like pissed off. Why is this in my reality when it's happening to me for me? And you know what I mean? But being honest with ourselves is key because if you really want a loving relationship or you want whatever the problem is, we got to ask ourselves like, why am I afraid of this? Or why am I not? And your ego is going to want to be like, well, you suck. Like, that's why. And it's really not. It's because and I think
You
this is
know
where a
why
lot of
nobody
us
likes you. You
I
know
think
why.
this is why I think this is why a lot of us fall or falter with direction because we're not sure yet how to navigate from the dimensional thinking of self to the true self of, well, if you want someone to love you, you have to love yourself. And at first someone it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What
Hmm.
do you mean love myself? And then And then if there's an issue, you know, sometimes people lose themselves and focus on this other person so much
Mhm.
they forget to balance themselves or love
Yep.
themselves. So they're loving someone else so much. And that's another lesson. So there's all these little, and that's why life happens to us for us. So I guess like all these things play a part in, yeah, your necklace is dope, by the way. On Instagram.
Thanks.
So yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
I mean, it's all good stuff. That's the thing. And I mean, we've talked about how people don't have real conversations, even whether it's spiritual or even healing. Usually it's like, this is what you have to do. And then everything's happy and you're fine. And it's like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Like, you dig and you dig and you dig, and then there's a hole, right? You dig down and there's a hole. There's a hole. You have to fill it. You have to do something with it, or else it just stays there.
It gets me every time.
Hole.
Filling the
You know what's weird?
well,
I was picking something out of my eye, just like you're doing right before you got on.
yeah, I feel like I had an eyelash or something. I don't have a contact in, so it can't bother me.
I was
But
literally doing that, trying to figure out why. It was weird, but that's I did all that. I was like, "What's in my eye?"
anything in there? I think one of the big messages too I want to say with everyone is that I don't know, I can never really find kind of like that. We're
Yeah,
gonna
same
keep
on
moving things
Instagram,
around till
girl.
I find the best timeline. Timeline. Um, I wanted to share with everyone that my name's Joe and I'm human-ish, and I also have made mistakes in the past. And I think that I wanted to say that because,
Hi, Joe.
hey, we all have made mistakes, and we all are wanting to be successful or happy and do what we want to do. But I think no matter what it is, whether like you're in public or around people, maybe subconsciously, like you feel like you're not worthy of something or you don't deserve something, and but you want it. And I think the big thing I've learned today, and I want to keep reminding myself, is that everyone here is fucking dope, and we can give ourselves so many reasons not to like be comfortable or do what we want to do or receive or achieve or have, and there's like all these things but you went through, but it doesn't mean like you suck. It doesn't
Right.
mean that you got to carry those that memory with you. um like no one's perfect. If you realize like everyone has made a mistake, like everyone has to make a
Yeah.
mistake. Everyone has to fuck up and do
Yeah.
something wrong. Everyone has like we're all human. We have to learn through something. We can't not learn. That's how we learn. That's how we evolve.
It's how we know
So
something needs to change is usually
yeah,
because how we're feeling. Yeah.
I think it's easy to talk about stuff sometimes, but today reminded me of how emotions get in the way and of our thinking. And it's super easy sometimes to just get locked up. Like my cousin, like it's just we get stuck. And I think the answer, what I realized too, and I said this to you too, it feels like I just wanted security and to be loved, like to be like, you're okay. But you know, there's times where you can tell someone that and they're like freaking out. They're like, hey, like, and they'll, call someone else. Oh, this is what happened. And like, oh, it's not a big deal. You're okay. And then they'll call someone else. Oh my God, my fucking day sucks. Like, this is what happened.
You're like,
And
thanks for
I've been,
hearing me and not validating anything that I'm going through. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah. And the truth is, like, I don't know if anyone really knows what they're looking for at that point. They just want to feel safe.
Hmm.
And I think that's what everyone kind of, we all want to know that, like, let's say you want a relationship. Like, yeah, you might not have like a relationship for over a year, and you're like, I really want to be with someone, and tell me. I'm like, yeah, and then you don't believe yourself, and you don't believe me telling you, so you're gonna ask another person, and they'll be like, no,
Yeah, you're
and then we
looking for
fight.
validation on what you think, and you're the
Yeah.
only one, sometimes that thinks that way. Rebel.
Um, and I'm pretty sure like that's that was the song I sent back to you. Sent me a
Yeah.
song and I sent a song back
Did you
because
like
then I
that
got all
song?
like I did. And then I
Yeah.
got emotional on the rainbow fucking one, which is
Yep.
like I was like, what's the title of this? And it's a rainbow. I was like,
Yep. Yep.
and I felt it because we're all the lyrics are just like we all just want to know like everything's gonna be okay
Hmm.
and that there is a rainbow, you know.
Yep.
But damn, I feel like there's so much to still talk about.
Rebel says, I'm learning my mistakes are not a definition of who I am. Yeah, no, we all have those. And I think
Mm.
we all, especially when you're seen, right? I think that's the scariest part about being seen. It's like, no, nobody is perfect. Like celebrities aren't perfect. There is nobody that is perfect. Everybody goes through their shit. And nobody really talks about it. Anytime someone makes a mistake, it's talked about in such a negative connotation that it scares everyone else into line. And the reality is everybody is constantly making mistakes trying to learn, but then you don't want to come out and talk about it because you're scared back in line because everybody talks so negatively when people do make mistakes, even if they own up to them,
You
even
know,
if it's small.
I think for a while, well, like I knew this before, and I'm not trying. I'm getting back to realizing, and this is like what I also remembered or feel in our conversation today. It's like, and I was asking myself, what am I afraid of? And I didn't realize like I was afraid of something, and I felt that
Mhm.
there was parts of me that were limiting me on being myself. Like I feel like I had made mistakes in the past, and so I can't be this fucking cool person anymore. And I really just I don't even want to think about what I'm saying. I don't want to be cautious. Like of course I'm gonna care in a way of like what I'm saying, but I
Right.
want to be myself. And I don't and I feel like I've been myself, but there's this whole other part that I have been nervous or holding back for some reason. And I'm just so tired of that being held back. And, despite me like being angry or upset today, like that's who I am, right? It's a part of me.
Yeah.
That happened and I fucking took out a garage door. Like it happened. And then I'm not gonna sit here and like shame myself the whole day like that I did that. You know what? I'm proud of myself. I don't think that we should be like shaming or being afraid to be ourselves because a part of me wanted to be like, oh, I suck now, and this is why like I'm single or like our
Yeah.
brain wants to
No,
do
it's
this
true.
shit,
Yeah.
and I just don't give a shit anymore about what people think. Like
Yeah.
I'm personally grateful for where I'm at, where I live. I'm happy with what I have. Um, for a long time, which is stupid, I was concerned like I didn't have this perfect life to have the relationship I want and this love life that I want. And I think our brain wants to give us like the quickest excuses.
Hmm.
Oh well, why don't you have that? Because like you're this and you're that, and you made some mistakes, and uh, you should have did better in your 20s, and that's the easy shit to do. Like that's
Oh,
not the answer, and that's not why.
yeah.
And you were talking about something earlier today with I refer to it as to remember to die. There's a Latin term, remember to die and remember to live.
Hmm.
And remembering to die is like, okay, if you were dead right now, like what's important?
Right.
And then you remember to live, like live and do what's important, like what's really like
Hmm.
valuable. And taking your power back and realizing like there's so many people that judge people for what they have or don't have and their success. And those are the people I don't really fucking care like I don't
Yeah,
care
no,
about
I
them.
was like,
Like if you're
those aren't your people. Yeah.
right. And I I I loved our conversation because I didn't realize. quite a few things, and I feel like I've been too limited.
Mm.
Without you guys know, like I'm sure you guys are like, no, I don't so see how that you could be limited. There's so much about me that I used to, and I recollect, and now I'm bringing back, and I feel it coming out. Like I was scared, I guess, or nervous to say things because one of the things I was telling Kitty before, and I want to share this with everyone, is that I was doing really well at one point on social media, doing readings, right? And then I didn't realize my ego got in the way, and I started to make money and whatnot. And I know like this is a touchy subject in the spiritual world and people, like you're not supposed to charge people. It's a whole different thing. But I was ungrateful and I wasn't appreciating what I had. And there was a time where I kind of got pissed off with clients because don't get me wrong, like there's pros and cons to this, but there was a time where people had like credits with me and they had book sessions and they never did anything with. And there was so much time that went by, so I said, I'm gonna post on my page that after this date, it was like the new year, this was last year, that I'm not gonna be honoring those, so make sure you use them. Well, someone had messaged me months later and was like, "Hey, can we do that now? Can we do the sessions?" And I'm like, this person had paid a long time ago, then wanted a refund for not even like doing anything, and I was getting pissy, like, what's the deal? And so I got mad, and I felt bad because, I dragged this person on social media, and my ego was definitely in the way, and I was insecure about it, and all I really needed to do was help this person, and I feel like I didn't. I was more or less like that one person that you don't want to be to help someone,
Yeah.
and I was bothered by doing that. And I also, I had a toxic relationship that really made me feel uncomfortable because they made me out to be a really horrible person. And when you're in a toxic relationship, you're gonna have a part of you that comes out that isn't great.
Mhm.
A part of you, like as an empath or whatever. I was in that whole narcissistic empath thing, and I had lost myself tragically. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. I just like I gave my power away. I was like, all right, I'll delete this and I'll delete that and I'll do this, and it really wasn't helping. And so a part of me was locked up in a way where I was nervous to say anything because I really just wanted to get over it, but they also had dragged me to like they put a order of protection on me and made me out to be a horrible person, and I couldn't even fight it in court. And I was like trying to explain myself, and I couldn't do it. And I had to ask myself like, why do I need to explain myself? And I realized it was a blessing in disguise. And so when the judge asked me if I wanted to agree to her 1 year order of protection, I said no. I would like 50 years. And she went, well, listen to the words. She goes, well, I can only offer you 2 years max. And I said, I'll take that offer. And she goes to her and goes, do you accept his? And I was like, oh, I just turned this shit around. So, but a part of me was insecure because I felt like I failed tragically on social media, which is
Yeah.
stupid because I was very vulnerable and emotional and I wanted attention at the time. Like I really was trying, it sounds embarrassing, but I was so up my ass about this relationship that I wanted her to be happy with what I was doing so
Mhm.
then I can be happy with her. And I literally would like did an apology live once or video, and she was like, "You didn't do that for this reason. You did it for this," and it was just like the toxic bullshit. And
Mhm.
so after that was over, like I wound up deleting my page. I had 6,000 followers, and I was really proud of myself, and like I sabotaged myself, and I had lost myself. So there's been a lot I have gotten better at over the years. It's just more or less really fully coming back step by step. And there was a chunk of time where I really didn't love myself. Do you know how shitty it is to not realize how you weren't not loving yourself and it's like clear as day? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about me, and I'll be honest with everyone. I don't even think I've told this to any this might be a time where I think I might have dropped it once, but not everyone knows. So, number one, I didn't realize I had an addiction to Adderall. And so I was diagnosed with ADD, but like it did help me. But it got to a point where I was taking way too much. Like there was pros and cons. It did help me with things in life and spirituality and breaking past things. But then it got to a point where I was like, yo, this is not good. And I didn't know. Um, then it got to a point where for some stupid reason I started taking steroids. I don't know why, because I really think that I wasn't enough.
Mm.
So I was trying to be something I wasn't because I didn't love myself. And this was after the toxic relationship. I wanted to be enough and love myself. I wanted to have this image in my mind of, and it really like it didn't make me like big. I didn't take it that long. If anything, it made me somewhat in a shape, but it really didn't make me like big, and I
Hmm.
wasn't trying to do that. But I was trying to fill a void,
Yeah.
and it really was this. I was chasing a high. You
Mm.
know, I didn't even know it because my spiritual awakening brought me to this like, oh shit, like this is really good. And it was a bad time. It was like you have to go from the low to the high.
Mm.
And there, in all honesty, without the Adderall wasn't like bringing all this in, but my spiritual abilities were heightened. And so I was experiencing a lot of shit. And it wasn't induced so much by Adderall. I don't want people to like take this the wrong way, but it got to a point where I didn't feel like I was in a high vibration. Sounds depressing, but it's true. So I felt like I needed to be here to do readings. Like I needed to be
Right.
here. And it's still like I was still doing really well, but I've always felt like I needed this thing to bring me here. And that's an addiction.
Yeah.
And so I never felt like I was enough. And so when I was doing well with social media and things were going well, it became almost like a high.
Yeah. That makes
And
sense.
then things went downhill. And of course, it's easy for me to blame the toxic relationship. Honestly, you understand when I say like things happen for a reason and it's a good thing and we learn from it. But
Mm.
the biggest lessons here I'm basically sharing is that um, number one, being vulnerable is important. I am enough. And by sharing this, you said it too, and it's true. Like it takes the power away from the insecurity. Um, and you know, the other thing too is I haven't really said this before, but I uh, so I didn't really know how to separate um affection and dating and stuff from my work because I was all social media fun. I was helping people, and I don't regret it. It's just more or less like I didn't realize like it wasn't the best of things because you're supposed to separate it and be professional and all that. But I feel like that made I made a mistake with that too. And I really just wanted I do like attention. I don't think there's wrong with you
No.
can but I also did egotistically want the attention, which is not good.
Mm.
Um but this had fucked up my perception of my work. Like what am I really doing? What am I went from helping people with the right reason, with the right emotional purpose and here's what's happening. And then I think I like healed from it and things worked out. And then I forgot
Right.
or didn't
You
realize the
forgot that
balancing part.
you had
Yeah.
to be knocked off again.
Yeah. It's like money and then this and that. It's like it went from depression, healing, happiness, balance, enlightenment, purpose, alignment, right?
Mhm.
And then it shifted into the wrong direction, which was ego based. And then it went from I think more relationship, sexual energy,
Mhm.
money. It went into ego base, and then I had that fucking sucked. Do you know like how shitty it is to picture this? I'm sure you guys have had this dream where you like you have a dream and you're back in high school and you're like, what? I graduated, and you're like, you didn't in your dream. I
Oh,
had dreams where I had to leave this. I left high school. I was like, fuck this shit. But I had to relearn stuff, but that I didn't know yet. But I didn't want to.
yeah.
Um, but I'm coming to a point now where I'm realizing that these things that I've held in are what needs to come out,
Mhm.
even if it's like from the past or the present. Do I, and I said this on my Facebook Live the other day, like a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I do want a relationship.
Mhm.
Do I feel like I'm not gonna have it? No, it's just more or less like there are times where I feel like I'm not enough, or did I fuck up? Did I make a mistake? And I say that because I think we all have these thoughts sometimes.
Mhm.
Like, when will I be there? When will I be happy? Look, I love this room. This is my childhood room. Like, I've lived on my own and stuff, but I think it's super easy to get into a negative space and go like, "Oh, I suck and I really should have this." Like the other day I thought about maybe a condo. That's not a bad idea. Like I can, but I need to learn what I need to do to get that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it didn't feel right to me to have an apartment, but then a condo, I was like, it's not, it's like a mini home. I own it.
Mhm.
And what do I need to do to get that? And if I have to, I think it's easy to go, "Oh, my credit score sucks." Like, "Oh man, then let's not do this. Let's just avoid it." Um, but I'd rather learn about it. And the other thing I want to say too, and I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna take a
Oh, you're
break and
good.
have you
You're
talk.
good.
Um,
You're good.
I and I think a lot of you guys can relate in your own way, but I'm a spiritual guy, and I have an altar. I also have, you guys might not understand, but it's okay, which is my Orishas. And I think when I meet a girl or date someone that's, you don't know if they're spiritual or they're gonna. Not everyone understands this shit sometimes, and you. It's not that I need someone to understand. I felt insecure that no one's gonna really understand, or they're gonna kind of want to, and that's been a bother to me in a way. How, and it's not that I can't be with someone that will understand. It's more like I've thought about this, and I think it's really more so the time I've had with my past relationships and wanting it just to be, look, this is a part of me. And that's like, you don't have to do the same thing. Like, this is who I am, and being comfortable. And the truth is that it's not so much that I want someone to be comfortable with it. I need to be more comfortable with myself
Mhm.
with it. Does that make
Yeah, no,
sense?
it's
Like,
yeah, absolutely it does. It does because if you don't fully accept things about yourself, like we talked about earlier, like the things like that we all have, then we really can't expect others to accept it. I mean, it only makes sense. Like you accept me, but I don't. Like that doesn't like that doesn't do me any good. And so I think that that's a hard thing for us to be able to accept it and love those parts of us. And then hopefully
yeah.
the idea is that someone else sees that light or that love in us, and it really ultimately is not going to matter because it's not something that's hidden.
It's
So,
weird because like I want to be that person that's like, "Oh, I just want someone to love me for who I am," but then I'm also realizing like I need to be, and it's easy to say that, but I'm really getting it more now than I was before. Like, because we just want things, and I think that goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, we just want things to be better, right?
mm,
Oh, we all just want someone to tell us that we're gonna have that thing
yeah,
that we
it's
want,
going to be
and that
okay.
we don't really believe it. But
Right.
then, really, what it comes down to is like we also have to be. Oh, like I was just saying before, sure, I want to meet with someone that's gonna work with me and all the wonderful things in a relationship, but also is comfortable in my spiritual stuff. And it's not them, it's me.
Hmm.
It's me being comfortable with myself, going, "Hi, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. This is a part of me." I also used to be that type of person where it's like, "Hi, know you." I do all this spiritual stuff. My whole, what else comes to my mind about this stuff? Oh, poor connection.
Is it better now? Can you guys hear? Can you hear?
Um, I can, yeah, everything's good. Just had a moment. It said poor
Okay.
connection.
Repeat. They said repeat. Repeat what you were
Um,
saying. You're
repeat.
back now. You're
what I was saying was what? To when we want something or like listen, I guess what I'm trying to say to everyone is like say what you're gonna say, but also listen to your words because
Mm,
I was saying like I wanted someone or want someone to understand and be okay with my spiritual practice, but really it's like it's me being okay with me. Like if I'm okay with me, I'm not gonna care if anyone else is. And it's not that I won't have that with someone. It's that we need to be secure with ourselves. And there's moments where even myself, I don't realize that I'm not I'm not secure with myself and I didn't know. So I'm looking elsewhere. And that's been the topic I think tonight is that there's things that bother us or we want to feel okay with moving forward in life or that we're going to be okay, that things are coming to fruition for us or and there is factors. I think there is factors depending on who we are, like what it is that we really need to move forward with. But right now the topic is really about not so much the thing that you want or to feel the thing. It's being secure with yourself about what it is. And that's really like manifestation. It's really like in order to receive it, you have to believe it or feel like you already have it or you're confident. And there's things like I've heard it before where I actually saw a video recently. It was interesting because it's normally they don't talk about it, but there's these guys that are on Facebook. They're called like DDE, which is like something exotic cars. And this guy was pumping gas, and this old lady like needed gas, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And she comes over and starts talking about affirmations and shit. She's like, I want to share this with you, and I wrote it. I wrote it on my wall. She wrote it down for him. She's got sticky notes in her like RV bus that she had. It was like a personal. It wasn't like a big one. And she said that she says I say this every day and all the time, and I believe it. And here's this. She gave it to him, and it's I always have everything I need when I need it for as long as I need it. Um, and something something that's the law. And she's like, see what I mean? Like I don't have enough. I ran out of money and gas, and like you're here, and this is. And they start talking about
mm,
the affirmations. The guys like talking about this building that they're gonna have for their cars, and but that's the thing. We gotta know that it's already done. And I think that life throws us through these loops. And I like to say that life happens to us for us. And
mhm. I say that too.
we don't need to know all the fucking details as to why. I'm not gonna lie, like back in the day I needed to know all the details.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
me
was
too.
really good sometimes at connecting dots. I was really fucking
Yeah.
good. And I'm in a phase of life right now where the things that have helped me the most are being present, um, learning to do different things that aren't associated to what I think I have to do. So,
Hmm.
like taking showers and just loving myself, like literally, like holding myself and just mentally being there. And I think I got to do that a lot more, honestly. I got to do that more. Um, reading books, things that I normally wouldn't do, but I think that again, I know people that will do shit, and maybe this is you at home listening. Like I have a friend, and he's awesome. I'm not saying this to talk shit or anything, but I reflect, and so he'll do all these things and feel good. And he's like, "Oh, I accomplished this, and I did that." But then the weekend will come, and
Mm,
so let's say he's got a date, and they cancel his plans, or something triggers him to remember that he's single still, and so then he feels like, oh, he did all this shit all week subconsciously thinks that he wasted his time and he's a piece of shit. He's not. And I say this for everyone. It's not just a he or she. But I feel like we do stuff sometimes and we have hidden expectations and we don't realize that there's a triggering factor that makes us feel like we suck and we did all this for nothing. And that's not true. It's that we all want things. And I think we're trying too hard sometimes to accomplish them. And there's
Mhm.
all these like little pieces that can help us. And instead of sabotaging ourselves, I think number one, like I like to share my methods. Today I was overwhelmed, so I chose to annoy the shit out of Kitty.
You did not
And
annoy
so
me.
we had a mindful talk.
It
No,
was
we
a
had a
great.
mindful. I like our. Yeah, it was great. I love our conversation because I know that I'm not gonna have a friend that's like, "Oh, it's okay. You're gonna
Yeah.
be okay." Like I know I'm gonna be okay. I want to have a transcending conversation. What's up, Kaz? Um, I chose that, and that put me in a new a space of moving forward correctly. Sometimes I like to listen to motivational speeches. I guess my intention is always, all right, how do I transcend this? How do I learn from it? How do I what does I need to do to get out of it? But like we were saying before, sometimes you just have to feel it. Um you just have to feel it and be uncomfortable with it. And I
And
think we're
really
so used
feel
to
it.
avoiding it.
Like really feel it. Because that's what
Yeah.
when I was talking earlier before you jumped on, I was like, we sometimes will think that we've healed because we've thought about it. I've thought about that cord cutting and I've thought about that and I've thought about that. But when you do feel it and you incorporate like your senses into it, it brings it from your brain to the 3D world. It makes it to where it's right here with you, and then you're able to process it differently, I
Mhm.
think. um, I think that's the danger with us always pushing everything down, because it just stays down. It's not ever brought out, right, of our body, so it just stays there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know how many times I thought I was loving myself and I would like and I'm still happy I did it, but I would go get coffee and sit by the river, which is awesome, but I would almost like it felt like I was tricking myself and I didn't know. Because instead of feeling and I love motivational videos and speeches, like it does help me, but there was this problem I kept facing and it's like what happened in the beginning of my journey and then I keep forgetting and it's literally to feel and I think I felt like sad. There was times I felt sad and upset and because I wanted this success or I wanted to like reach this goal. And I kept pushing hard. Like I kept going on. Like I'm still here. And I'm not going to give up on it. It's just like I didn't I wasn't really vulnerable because I was too I think I had a lot of pride honestly. Like I was on my own in my energy per se. Like I felt alone because I didn't feel understood by my family at the time. I had to like almost hide who I was and it was a struggle because listen, I was I was on Adderall, I wasn't sleeping. I'm still like I had fun. I'm not saying you guys should do it, but a part of me like was it didn't feel like I could be myself until nighttime and I felt free. Like I just needed to be okay with being myself really. And I wanted to help people at night too. But I really needed to process my emotions and especially after my relationship that I had. And I think there's more to that really. I so when my ex died and then I didn't date for like years and I got into this relationship. I learned later on that I didn't know, but gave all I could emotionally to like keep things to not give up because I didn't realize in the past I felt like I gave up on someone and it failed. Like I was afraid of I don't want to say it, but like a death. And the funny thing, it's not funny, but I remember telling someone after I was like, I feel like I'm mourning someone's death that's alive. And that was
Mhm.
the toxic relationship. And the truth is like I do have love for the person, right? I still have love for this person. And it's not that I want something. it's just that I had to learn. I had to learn a lot.
Do
I
you
felt
think
like
it
I
was
didn't have.
the epitome of I'm not going to give up on this person. I'm going to stay because I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay because of what happened last time. So then
Mm.
you're stuck in that cycle, and you had to learn how to break out of that. You think?
Oh, what's up, Saw Daddy? No, that's Anna. Anna's dope. Anna's dope. She's the one in Arizona. We're still friends. Um, I was stuck in that trauma bond bullshit,
Yeah.
and there was that like, I mean, I can't lie. I'm not saying there was that toxic shit, and I was a part of it too. Like I said some mean things. There's things that you like do that you don't normally do because you're like you give your whole self to someone, you're just empty. I like to see like, you become a mirror for this person because they drain you, but I don't know, part of me also felt like I'm avoiding the camera. I guess it's a hard thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Um things were really good at one point, and I'm not really sure why we're focusing on this, but I guess it's something that I want to talk about. It's uncomfortable.
Mm.
Part of these things make me feel like I'm not a good partner or lover because again, like I was saying before, like our they're not failures, but with all this pressure in life to like have a family, have kids, your age and how much time you have, and I'm not saying that that's the number one thing, but I don't fully like to hold on to these limited beliefs, but
Hmm.
I felt so vulnerable through that toxic relationship that even when I was really going through it, I was still on camera. I was fucking embarrassed. And I think that's probably why I deleted it too. I was like, there was so much involved with
Right.
like just deleting everything. And I felt like I wasted my time, which is not true. It put a damper on a lot of things for sure.
Mm.
Um, I felt like I wasn't proud of myself anymore. Like I had let this bring out the worst in me, and then I just like she used to say like people don't know how you are in person. You're different on camera, which is fucked up because she brought out some negative shit.
Yeah.
But it made me feel that makes that hurts
Yeah.
to hear someone, and I like in the moments like I understood because if someone keeps like poking you and fucking like really dragging your emotions around, and then it's a back and forth thing when it gets into that toxic shit, and it just made me feel some type of way. I wasn't the best person in that. There was a lot of different things that I could have definitely done better or different or handled different. So I'm not saying by all means like I'm a perfect person. It's just that really was a lot of the reason, not a lot, but some of the reason that I felt like I was held back for a chunk of time. Um, and then it made me question myself, like, what is my purpose? And I like had to revisit everything, like, who am I? But Sarah's right. That everything served a purpose. Like I
It
learned that
does.
I was looking for validation. I learned that I had the wrong idea of success. I learned that I had an addictive person. And this is over the course of years, like just over the past. It's funny how time like really just you think about it's like gone, but and I've changed a lot,
Mm.
and it's a lot of good stuff. I guess I just like talking with you today, kind of reminded me of things that were holding me back that I guess I wasn't proud of, but at the same time was limiting my purity of like who I truly am.
Yeah.
And so from now on, I don't fucking give a shit about what people think. And I
See,
really don't, but subconsciously we do that shit.
subconsciously it does, and I I haven't told them, but the classes I'm taking, they said this, and this was pretty profound when I heard it today. Yeah. And it ties in with what Joe just said, is that your immune system, so your subconscious is basically your immune system for your spirituality and your soul, right? And so when your immune system has an invader, right, it goes to attack and shut it down. And so when you have something that feels uncomfortable, your subconscious goes after it and attacks and stirs things up and makes it super crazy and makes you feel certain ways. But in the same way that your immune system is attacking this to get rid of it, your subconscious is doing the same thing in your spiritual and in your soul, trying to get rid of it and trying to make you safe, right? Because all it knows is that this isn't safe. This isn't safe. Get out, get out, get out, get out. Don't deal with this. Push it down, push it down. It's uncomfortable. It hurts, right? And so it does that. And so until we start recognizing it like that, it makes it, I love that comparison, because for me, that makes sense. It's like, okay, I get it now. Like, I get it. Like, I'm acting out and I'm upset. And it was just profound to think about it that way, because that's exactly what happens. Like, you hit a door today, right? And for you, it was a big deal in the moment. And I get it, because like sometimes someone will move my cup and it's a big deal, right? So it's like we have those things that we're like, what is wrong with me? But the reality is your subconscious felt something. And so it starts doing this, and you're having to deal with that. And it's, yeah, it can be very difficult, because there's not an antibiotic you can take to fix it. Like your immune system, you can do different things. You can't really spiritually and with your soul stuff and subconscious. The only thing you can do is dive in and try and see where the pain point is and try and fix it. And it's not that easy, like people talk about.
No, it reminds me of like when the first time we're really addressing something that we're uncomfortable, and it could be like speaking of it. Look, today I was pissed off, and I was like, I could have really I'm getting better at it, but so I walked in and I was like, what's up? Am I loading up the truck? We got it. He's like, oh, you're going to Connecticut today, and I don't do Connecticut. Only on Tuesdays and Fridays, and it wasn't Tuesday or Friday. So my natural instinct was like to say, and I can say this calmly now, I don't go to Connecticut on those.
Right.
But I was like, I don't go to what? I don't do that so it was like defensive. And I think a lot of us do this thing where even if it's like a conversation, like we're talking with a friend, or sometimes we have a moment where maybe you ask me a question, I'm like, oh, I don't know, but I know what I should be telling you, but I'm avoiding it. And that's really that's where you go. That's what you say. Like, whatever, it might be embarrassing, but you talk with someone that helps you uncover that. And it's weird. Like when we're with ourselves, we might have this conversation, but when we actually verbalize it physically, there's this like release, and
True.
You're like, wow, I needed to say that, and that's where the stuff's at sometimes. But I said this earlier today too. Like sometimes the answers aren't in the places that you think they are, and expressing how you feel. Like I kid you not. Like I pulled up I like to write like notes or poems on my phone. And there was something I wrote, and I don't know when I wrote it, and I think I read it once before, and I was like, I don't know the fuck I was talking about. But then I read it again recently, and it made a whole lot more sense. And I was like, oh shit. And I was literally telling myself, like, I don't know when you became so fearful of this, but I wrote, and it's fucking nuts. Like sometimes I don't even know how I did this stuff sometimes. And I was saying to myself in this poem or letter, I was like, basically, don't worry, like all your gifts and stuff, I've got you. I got it safe. Like when you're ready and you're not afraid anymore, it's here. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I wrote that. And that's the divine timing shit. I'm so glad I did that.
Hmm.
um, really expressing ourselves. And one of the other things that I really came across today too, despite not despite with our conversation and also like from other people and myself, and
Hmm.
if we can just let go of control on a new level, it gets so cool.
Hmm.
When you, I don't know how to explain this, without you having to know the answer or the mental clicking validation. I was drawing symbols and my spirit guide, and I've had this happen before with like painting, my picture that I painted. I wanted to do, this all-seeing eye, and I was like, I don't know how to paint the eye, and my spirit guide said, flow, just like trust yourself. And I just let go and had fun, and it came out really well. If we can do that with like a lot of things, like my conversation right now, trusting ourselves and intuition and having like the flow. There's just something with the flow, just trusting yourself in the right thing to do. Because I think we all want this piece of security or this, like, oh, okay, that's why.
Hmm.
And if you can just like go with the flow, and it's not, all, look, shit happens, you get all pissy and you're like, oh my God, that happened. But you got to learn how to trust in ourselves. Trusting in ourselves is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm human too. I have to phone a friend sometimes.
Phone a friend for
Um,
10,000, please. Same. Me
yeah,
too.
you're on the phone right now. Everyone's different. It really depends on what we're all going through. And I guess, hmm, it really sometimes depends on the person. But hopefully, all this what we're talking about helps someone.
It will.
Like,
It will.
yeah.
I think that, I mean, I think that that's what it's about. I think that when people see, there's that misconception, like I said, of everything's fine, everything's great, and in the end everything really is, because if it's exactly where it needs to be, that's great. But sometimes it doesn't feel like it's fine, right? And the reason why it doesn't feel like you're doing okay is because nobody talks about the shitty times. If everybody talked and said, hey, everybody goes through this, it's a very real thing, and they put their stories out,
Hmm.
that would be the normal. Like, understanding everybody has that stuff, that would be the normal. But nobody ever talks about their struggles truly and openly. And when they do, it's few and far between. And so the normal is you smile, love and light, love and light, love and light, love and light, love and light. And everything's great. Pray it away. Whatever you want to do, just don't, whatever you do, don't like actually get involved and try and take care of yourself. Just pray it away, or love and light, smile, everything's fine. Well, no, it's not. And not anybody on the planet has everything fine all the time. Most of the time there's shitty stuff that happens every single day to all of us, and it's fine. It is fine that happens. We just don't think that it is, because we're conditioned to believe that if you have a bad day, something's wrong with you.
This also came to my mind when you're talking. Um, we're shown what we're shown that success is like what everyone else is doing, and then on TV what fame looks like, and I think it's like part of what we think is success. But I didn't realize also that part of me for a little bit was doing what everyone else was doing in a way, because that's all I knew. And
Hmm.
I wanted to say this too, like, this is something I want to do again. I When I was going through my awakening and I was struggling, and then I kind of started to choose for me, I
Hmm.
realized, and I was really honest with myself. I'm actually surprised, and I want you guys to know this. There's things that I said to myself like before I knew shit. It's kind of like when you have Facebook memories, like in 2012, you said some enlightening shit. You're like, how did I know that?
I love that.
That means more to me now than I knew then. So how did
Mhm.
But I said things, and I know that this is weird, but I kind of would like everyone to just adopt it and just be free to be yourself, as weird as it might come out.
Mhm.
And I was telling myself, okay, this is not the Joe I know.
Mhm.
This is a new Joe. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yep.
And I said, okay, well, you know, I was honest with myself and I said, I was 28 years old and I was like, I really don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And when someone says like, who are you? And you're like, oh, I'm so and so. I have da. You really don't know who you are. And so I started to just talk about to myself what I love or what I like. And I didn't necessarily have like a plan. I was just like, I literally was like, I love talking with people and I
Mhm.
love this and I love that. And like the more I said it, I kid you not, I remember like if I was a pole and someone just like was like a hit me with a vibration of light, and I was like, whoa, like I heard readings and I was not doing any readings yet. I wasn't doing any public readings at all. And I was like, holy shit, readings. Like I would love to do that. And I guess what I'm saying is we all have to kind of ask ourselves who we are and what we like because it redefines and renavigates the energy.
Mhm.
And it also brings in awareness of who you really are, and it might uncover more about your purpose. And I think sometimes we're shown this is the way you should go. And you're like, oh, I learned something here. It brought me enlightenment. I love it. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
do this.
Yeah.
Which brings us through a level, but sometimes we're meant to do more
Mhm.
and we're meant to evolve. And I'm finding myself kind of again in a place of, who is this Joe? And I think it's okay to evolve into a new version of ourselves because honestly, if you think about it, like I had lost myself and I'm redefining myself, and over the years I get back to it and I'm like, okay, well, who is Joe now?
Mhm.
What does Joe look like now? And I that's a form of self-love
Mhm.
because rather me go through another problem in a mirror of a person
Mhm.
or okay, I don't like that. I like this or it's really spending time with myself and asking myself, what do I really like? And it's not don't do that shit where it's like, well, I like watching movies. I
Right.
like really spend time with who are you and don't play it like, oh, I know who I am. We all change.
Yeah.
And it's kind of recalibrating, it's rediscovering, it's liberating. You're getting to know yourself more. And when I did this, it was really, really good for me. I realized so much about myself, and I'm glad I did it. And I think I'm
Mhm.
gonna do it again. Happy Valentine's Day. I like Man Out of Reach. That's a cool name.
He's a
So it's
fun guy.
always, always just out of reach. Never too close. Just always out of
He's
reach.
just right out of reach.
Um, will be when I get home, starting over, worried myself sick. Literally, I realized today that I've been the reason for me getting sick so much lately. That's okay.
It's a real thing.
So
Yeah.
there's I'll tell you a story, and then I'll take a break from talking.
You're
But
good.
even not too long ago, I got this used car, but I needed to get car insurance, and I like already kind of like knew. I just knew that was gonna be a problem, and I took my lunch break and I spent like hours on the phone, and of course, like I didn't have car insurance for a certain time, and I guess that's a no no.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, you're like, we can't help you with that. You have to go either to this one or that one, and I can't go to this one, so you go to that one, and that one wants more money, and like, it's just like, it was a headache, and I stressed myself the fuck out, and I remember my energy just like dropping in the
Mhm.
middle of, and the goal is to be aware of it and not do that, and I was just so frustrated, and I spent so much energy. I think I put too much energy into it. and I
Mhm.
burnt myself out, and I started to get sick. And I guess my point is like I it's a thing. I think it's a
It is
healthy
real.
thing to realize like, oh, I'm in control of my well-being.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of my
So,
things. I know that I'm sick because of all the stress from last week. And then I'm like, I know better. I know better than to do that. But here I am. It's like, I know
well,
that's how
it's
my body reacts.
it's the power of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how how do I say that? Like, yes, where you focus your attention and your energy and how you feel and all that, but I think it comes with also like practice. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like today or our events in life, the better you get, you're like, oh, okay, like this is what it's gonna be. Let's get
Yeah.
this straight. We already know going in. So then you know, like, all right, so I'm gonna make 2 phone calls, take a break. I don't plan on getting this solved
Yeah.
today, maybe. The
Right.
goal is you're more realistic. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to get this shit done and over with.
Yeah.
And that took way too much time. So then you navigate it better. When you
Mm-hmm.
go through shit, you get better at, okay, so this is what it is. And then you like I know now, like next
Yeah.
time someone else does it or I do it again, like I'm not gonna be like mad that I did it again. I'm like, all right, so
Yeah. And I also feel with you saying
we'll
that,
do
I had this come
it.
up. It's that thing of like with mine last week. I made it through like the first thing okay. And so the universe is like, oh yeah, you got that? Let's see what you do with this. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh, how about this? Whoa! Like I've had enough. And so I think sometimes too, it's like, okay, I got it. I got it. It's fine. I'm fine. And then it's like, here's the other one. It's
Mm,
like, I got this. I'm fine. And then it's that last one that gets you. And then you're like, damn it. I was doing so good. And then here we are. So
mm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, these there's tests.
Yeah.
It's really like what I was saying before too is how do you rewrite a limited belief or your
Mhm.
old belief?
Yeah.
And it's like honestly, so a lot of the journey parts that I've well, it started with trusting the process. The process, like to trust the process, you must also take a leap of faith. And there's the
You
unknown.
have to let
The
go.
unknown is
And it's,
fear of the unknown.
yeah.
And the trust in the process is going in the direction that you're being guided to go in intuitively or in your life. When everyone else is like, no, do it this way, like everyone else does. And you're like,
Yeah.
you're being guided to go the opposite way,
Yep.
which is against like
Everything.
everything. Like, you're not supposed to do that. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Mm.
do? How are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do that? And then your guides are like, it's gonna be fine. Like, just do this. And then, oh no, how are you gonna get money? How are you gonna do this?
What if
And your
this doesn't
guides are
work?
just like,
What if this doesn't work? I mean, I think it will, but what if it doesn't work? Yeah.
it always works out. And I realized you you have to trust in the unknown.
Hmm.
So how that all works out for you, you just have to trust on how it comes to you.
Yeah.
But we also need to not think about it. We just know that it all will work out in our favor.
Yeah. And it's
And
retraining
we're
your
so
brain
used to
on that.
thinking and worrying that
Yeah. You have to retrain your brain on it
for
to
sure.
do it. Because I am a worrier and overthinker by nature. And so it's, oh
Mm.
yeah, I'm accepting this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's retraining or untraining. How about that? Untraining. It's untraining. It is untraining.
Untraining. I don't have my glasses on and I was looking for something. Thanks to glasses.
Yeah, we have to untrain.
I got it. I
That's
was looking.
probably more correct. We have to untrain. We have to peel back those layers.
Interesting. Where the fuck? Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. Untrain. How do you untrain?
How do you untrain something that you've been conditioned your whole
You don't
life to
listen.
have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we spend all. I think it's I guess wanting to respond differently. Like a lot of people want to believe in this stuff.
Hmm.
They want to believe in manifesting. They want to believe in, and I
Hmm.
think we also have to get past this like quick fix shit.
Hmm.
But in order to receive anything, you're gonna have to believe in what you're doing, but also let go of how that comes to you and when it. And then it's also enjoying the journey. That's a big lesson too. The journey.
Finding
Journey has
pleasure
all
in
the
your
fun stuff in it.
moments. Finding pleasure in your
Yeah.
moments. Yeah.
Finding the good in all things because there's good in everything.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I
And
think that like the two things that I take away from like this week's classes that I'm taking, the other one, and I told you this was it is imagine if you don't believe this, then you can imagine, but imagine that you came to this earth with your brain and memory wiped clean, right? I think that's what happens anyway, but if you don't believe that, imagine it, that you come here, you're born, your memory's wiped clean, and so you spend your whole entire time people giving you sidetracked from social media to TV to all these different things to keep you not remembering who you are. And then there's these bits and pieces of people that show up in your life and help you remember who you are. And it's really,
mhm.
when you think about it, you've lost all those things. And then slowly you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't even know that about me. But it's
Oh
coming back
yeah.
to who you are.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you're a piece of shit. I remember that now.
Oh, yeah.
You're a fucking. Oh
This must
yeah.
be
I
what I'm
forgot
paying for
why.
now. Okay. Yeah. No,
Wait,
but I
wait,
mean, it's
wait.
true. It's,
They wiped
it's,
my memory, but I'm starting to remember you are a fucking asshole.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
remember.
No, but the thing is that, and then you're like, some people are probably like, oh, thank God they don't remember me from the past life because, everything is wiped clean. And then you're like, oh, I know you. I know you. But it
Uh,
does, it all starts coming back. And I
I
think it's
got
a
all the
beautiful,
power.
yeah, I feel like it's a beautiful way to look at it because you can forget or you can never remember basically. But when you start remembering or seeing those parts, then you're like, okay.
We're gonna clean the chat. We're gonna clean the chat. Clean the chat. We're getting
Others
rid of
tend
all the
not to
juju's,
consciously
all the
acknowledge.
black magic. Black magic is only ego and power. Clear it. Did you know that black magic does not ask for permission?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a no-no. You're supposed to ask for permission.
Yeah, I'm not saying like that. There's not times that I'm like booga booga booga, but overall,
Mhm.
I think that I like to stick with things when people ask. Right? I don't want to dabble in people's energy without asking, or them asking me for it. I just don't believe that that's our job. You know. Now I have a lot of
Yeah,
people that are like, "Ooh, lettuce," ooh, and I'm like, "No, like just not even give it that energy. Like it just builds it when you do that." Yeah,
yeah. Don't be a weirdo.
yeah.
There's being weird, which is like not. It's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's welcomed, but then there's like the toxicity of weirdness. Like no, don't do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't be into it.
yeah. I'm not.
Um,
I'm just not.
my birthday's coming up.
When is your birthday?
I don't want everyone to know in the chat.
All 7 people. I'm blind. 7 people.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. February 18th.
Oh, it really is coming up.
Yeah. What would you think? I was lying to you?
Well, I mean, maybe it was like March. It's like right around the corner.
Oh.
Yeah, 4 days.
Yeah. I'm gonna be 33. I'm gonna be like Jesus.
Oh man, 33.
Be like Jesus.
I remember
Jesus.
back in those times when I was 33. I remember that. But
So I'm gonna be resurrected and forgiven. I don't know. I just know Jesus was 33. That's a big number.
Yeah.
I was still wild at 33. Yeah, I mean, inside I'm still wild, but I'm actually like it's like I'm calming down but reserving. Like there's a mature wild side. Like I don't know, I'm starting to be more
Compartmentalized.
compartmental, yeah, about
Compartmentalized.
things. Before I was like wide open, like everything, but I'm still pretty much like reserved in proportion of maturity. Yeah, so I mean, look, I learned things over the years. I got to put them into some sort of practice. Like, okay, this is not good to do. Let's do it this way now. And I've learned, I'm the type of person that's like, okay, this is the seventh time. I think I'm
I'll
learning. I
try
get
anything
it.
7 times, and then if it doesn't work, I'm done.
Yeah. All right. All right. We got this now. Um,
It's funny.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I told you guys, I did have a Valentine's Day date, but then I canceled the plans for that. It's unfortunate, but
I mean, we'll
sometimes
take
it's
you.
just,
We'll have a date with you. We're fine. We like it, right,
yeah,
guys?
we're here. We're all here for
We're
Valentine's
all
Day date.
here. We'll,
Even the man out of reach, you're here for a Valentine's Day date.
you know,
We love you too.
we're on a big date, a big group date.
We're on a big date. We're no none of us are alone. We're here for each other. What do
You
they have those like the anti Valentine's Day whatever? What is that
Yeah,
called?
I did. So I hosted an event called Love Bites, self-love event. And so it was like an anti-Valentine's because everything that we did had to do with self-love and like all that. But yeah.
There's like, and I'm not saying that it has to be a girl thing, but there's like the whole like I don't know. I don't think it's a feminine thing. It's just like people against having to have a Valentine. I don't know.
I don't know.
I have to
I'm
Google
not
it.
against it, but I'm very much like I don't I don't want someone I love people every day of the year, and I know people say like, "Oh, well, it's Valentine's Day." And it's like, "Yeah, but it's just another day when it's all said and done." Like I love to do things just because, and impromptu and stuff when it's for other people. And I don't like that idea of it's Valentine's Day, everybody better get flowers and chocolates. Like I'd rather do something different on a different day. It just I don't like that idea. It's like Mother's Day, like my kids, you should appreciate me as a mother, not just once a year. So it's like I don't really
Hmm.
get super um involved in that. It
I
is
don't
a
know.
Hallmark holiday. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's not great to celebrate if you're celebrating, but I do think for me it's always like, you know, you don't have to do it on Valentine's Day. You just have to. Oh, thanks, man out of reach. We appreciate you.
you're welcome. My night's complete now, man. Out of reach. I've made your night. Good. All right, everyone. I've reached my goal. So that's it.
So
That's it. All right, I did it.
mm,
Um, we did something.
we did.
That was we're having great conversations. I have this book I've been reading. It's I mean, we don't have to get all God and holy, but it was given to me years ago, and it's like based on every day as a message from God.
Hmm.
But I just like look, I just have fun with divine timing. So let's see what the message is for today. Today is the 14th. Oh, in my presence. Interesting. So the message is in my presence. So you do not realize that you would have broken down under the weight of your cares, but for the renewing time with me. It is not what I say, it is I myself. It is not the hearing me so much as the being in my presence. The strengthening and curative powers of this you cannot know. Such knowledge is beyond your human reckoning. This would cure the poor sick world if every day each soul or group of souls waited before me. Remember that you must never
Yeah.
fail to keep this time apart with me. Gradually, you will be transformed physically, mentally, spiritually into my likeness. All who see you or have contact with you will be, by this intercourse with you, brought near to you me, and gradually the influence will spread. You are making one spot of earth a holy place, and though you must work and spend yourself ceaselessly, because that is for the present your appointed task, yet the greatest work either of you can do and are doing is done in the time apart with me. Are you understanding that? Do you know that everything thought, every activity, every prayer, every longing, every day is gathered up and offered to me now? Joy that I am with you, for this I came to earth to lead man back to spirit, converse with his God. I don't know, I find that interesting.
Hmm. See, I always like those because for me, God, spirit, universe, source, it's the same thing for me. So it doesn't bother me to listen to stuff
Well,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
God, source, universe, creator.
Yeah.
I'm not prejudiced on my God.
I think it makes
um,
I think it makes him or her small.
makes it very small. But
Yeah.
I don't know. What was I gonna say? We all go through things. We are all searching to be better, loving ourselves, and to be free and accepting who we are. I'm learning more about it's not what I have that makes me better. It's really just being me,
Mhm.
being me and having fun. And I think that's like the hardest concept I've had so far is success isn't about pleasing people or doing all this like shit that we think like we're supposed to do in a box. It's just like embracing who you are.
Mhm.
And that has been like it's just a fascinating thought to me because I guess coming from a person that for a while felt like I wasn't enough to realizing that I am enough. And then my brother's laughing playing a video game. And
Mhm.
then having that knowledge going you're enough and then what do you do with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so if I'm enough, and
Mhm.
that's I think the overriding of the subconscious beliefs. It's like, all right, I'm enough. So then like now what? And it's like go do the shit you want to do. Go
Yeah.
do it. Go have fun.
I think too, I think I posted this earlier today, but I had a lot of profound things I learned today. And one of it said, we're always searching basically for our purpose. And in the post, I think someone wrote, it said, we're searching for our purpose. What is your purpose? Well, it's really hard for us to find our purpose because our purpose is that of how we make other people feel by doing what we're called
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah.
when we search for our purpose, we don't ever find it per se because we
No.
don't get to experience us like other people experience us.
Yeah.
And so I thought that's really beautiful because we all are like, what's my purpose? I don't know my purpose. It's like
Well,
your purpose is not a feeling that you're going to ever experience. It's what
oh,
others
it's good
feel when you're
too.
doing what you're doing. And I was like, that's really beautiful.
So you just reminded me when we keep looking for answers, like I need to remember this shit more. I'm gonna remember all this more. When we keep looking for an answer, we're never gonna find it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and now let me explain. We're never gonna find the answer if we keep looking for the answer. And this is where I used to get pissed off because they're like, the answer is within you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, the fuck it ain't. Like, what are you talking about? The answer is within you. And I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why is that when we all keep looking for the thing, it's the path of least resistance. You're actually resisting it, so you're pushing it away.
Yeah.
So you're always looking for it. You're never gonna find it because you're always looking for it.
You'd never
But
see it if
I
it
was
came and bit you. Yeah.
yeah. But when you actually say like things like I know, okay, so affirmations, like right,
Hmm.
so I am happy,
Hmm.
or I have my purpose. Like I have
Hmm.
my purpose. You don't need to know what it is. Like you just are affirming that you have it. I have my purpose. And I think a lot of times we're worried about affirming the wrong words or some shit.
Hmm.
So I have what I'm searching for. Like I have my purpose. And when you keep affirming it and then you stop worrying about looking for the answer, eventually you'll find it. Is you're affirming that you have it already.
Mm.
you're not looking for it, but by looking for it causes more confusion and
Self
lack.
doubt and
And that's
all.
the same thing with love. Yeah, like love and relationship. Like I want this thing. It's a lack. So we have to affirm that we have,
Yeah,
and it's such a weird thing, but this is the way to go.
it is.
I'm so grateful. I have this loving,
Yeah,
beautiful marriage relationship, whatever you want. So
yeah.
grateful for my purpose and passion. I love myself. And these are all like gravitational pulls to bring in more of what you want. But isn't it funny? So weird.
It is weird. I've heard that about manifesting money and things like that. You know, when you act as if and you're manifesting, you're acting as if you have these things because you know it's coming at some point. Then you align with that
Mm.
vibration of the universe, and the universe is like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course you're the same vibration of it, so it just comes to you easily." Which it would have to do with
I
anything, really.
I have this problem, right? And I'm saying it to resolve it. And I've manifested money, I've manifested cars, I've manifested things. And I think I have this problem sometimes where it's like, what do I want to manifest? And then I have the problem of, can I do it again?
Hmm.
And I know like so I've manifested like organically in a way, and it's like so funny. I just said it with confidence. Like I remember getting annoyed and I told my friend, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Hmm.
And then I'm gonna do it this way, this way, this way, and this was gonna happen. And I like didn't have any proof yet. I just knew this is what I'm gonna do. And my friend was like, oh, no way, you're gonna, and I did it. Yo, and there was a time where I was with the same friend, was picking up a car, and I was like, in this fucking thing, my friend made a mistake and really fucked up the car more. And I was like, yo, it would really be nice if he gave me hundred bucks back. He comes back. He had to go down the road to his place, comes back. He goes, here's $100 back. I feel bad. And I was like, fuck yeah. But like sometimes I think that I just need to remember to speak with the
Hmm.
confidence and knowing. And I think we all try too hard.
Yeah.
We all try too hard to manifest, and it's really know what you want, speak it with affirmation, and don't overthink it. And if you have to repeat it over and over again until you're like, this is what I'm gonna. I think what really helps me is when I'm a little annoyed or like I'm. This is you know what this is it. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
Um. So,
And I think
but
that
then there's like,
I think that we talk about manifesting, and it's like you have to do this big ordeal to manifest. And like, in my family, they say, don't say that, that'll happen. And you know, it is what they say, they'll joke about
yeah,
it. And I forget about that because I've had so many experiences that things have happened like that. And I'm like, oh, you're right. And we get so stuck into it has to be a big deal. Like for me, some things like I was going to a concert and we were running late and we were supposed to be on the list. And so when we were going to get there, we didn't know how we were going to get in. We didn't know how anything was going to happen. And this is very trivial and doesn't matter. But as soon as I got there, I opened the door and there was my friend that's in the band and it worked. And I never had a
mm,
doubt that it wasn't going to work, right? I was doing it, it was
mm,
happening. There was never any doubt. And so that's a very small thing and it seems kind of trivial, but the chances of him being right there on the other side of the door when I opened it is slim to none, right? So that's perfect timing of getting there. You're running
mm,
late anyway. What if you were on time? Like you wouldn't have seen him. Like there's so many different things that have to do. And we think about like manifesting, it has to be some grand scheme of things, and it doesn't. You could do it the same with a parking place. It just it's life, and how you choose to.
mm.
Once we become conscious of it, and I still fight myself on it all the time, but I think it's life and how we choose to think how things are happening. You know it usually has to be a big thing I want to manifest. It's like, no, I'm doing this, I don't
I
know how
want
it's
to
going to happen,
manifest.
but it's happening.
It's like the new commercials and stuff, like the new. I
Use
want to.
parking as the
Do you want to manifest?
uh-huh.
Are you manifest? I use that parking place a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all start off with something like a button, or a parking
Mhm.
spot, or um. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing when we put our mind to it, right?
Hmm. Yeah. And be able to incorporate like things and your senses and like enjoying the process. It's really it's a hard thing for us, right? But I think
Mm.
that's a huge key component in our growth is to start understanding our words are powerful, right? And that they hold all those things. I mean, I always forget it, even though I teach it all the time, right? We do that. Or that the store will be
Mm.
calm when you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So my big thing is the power of the mind and your time. Your time is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Your thoughts are valuable. So what you utilize your time with and stuff is very, very important.
Mhm.
So utilize that for the positive things. And if you're in a negative space, use it for like a positive result into learning something, like put it into work. Learn to work that into a result of learning something for yourself, or find out what it is that is in your way of the emotional space. Or sometimes, look, it goes back to emotions, is we want shit, we want stuff, and then
Yeah.
it doesn't come the way we want it, but then we have to go into the emotional space.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to try to do, and I say try because it's a process, right? You're retraining yourself, but I want to do like next time something happens that's significant, that's driving me crazy, for me to be like, oh, look,
mm,
are you helping me remember who I am or are you keeping me sidetracked?
mm,
You're definitely keeping me sidetracked. Like there's a whole bunch of sidetracking going on, and that's how I'm going to attempt to look at it. Like, oh, good, it's another sidetrack. You definitely don't want me to know who I am, you know. So that's what I'm going to
mm.
attempt to do this next week.
Yeah. There's a actually what was said in the comments is actually true. It's something that I agree with, is that we have to sometimes take time to reflect on, appreciate what we do have and what we did create, or we did
Mm-hmm.
manifest, or we do, because that's something I actually, and I brought it up probably before, but appreciate the achievements,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a great topic. If we, and I'm the type of person, and I'm getting better at it, like what's next? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I never was like appreciating
Right.
what I did, what I was doing, what I have done. And so I sabotage the shit. So like with if we don't do that, we're gonna feel like we're wasting our time. Kind of going back to like doing the things and like feeling like, oh well, this sucks here, so what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Appreciating what we have and what we have done so far in our journey. That's a really great topic. I really like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and that's
understanding
really
that
good.
I had the conversation with one of my friends the other day, and he said, I said, there's definitely something happening. And he was like, well, yeah. And I was like, no, I'm saying like, I feel momentum. Something's happening. And he was like, yeah. It was like, everything that you're doing doesn't happen immediately. He said, we're stuck in that immediate thing. He said, the things you've been working on for 6 months or a year and all those things are slowly coming into fruition and you're seeing that
Mhm.
happen. And so he was like, you're surprised. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I've never thought about it, you know? And I was like, I think that there's some momentum. And he's just like, well, yeah. I'm like, I guess you're
Yeah,
right.
I get that. Because I don't know, it reminds me of like conversations we had where like I'm understanding of what you're going through or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, you're good, and like I get it. But then I'll go through something and I'm like, uh and you're like, yeah, you're good. It just reminds me of those
Yeah.
scenarios. Like
Yeah.
we know, but
Yeah.
sometimes we just need it's that
Yeah.
human hybrid shit.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
something else that came up. What was it? Just kind of thought. Oh, I wanted to say this too. This is for everyone as well. Like, I don't know if anyone has this issue, or I don't want to say issue, thought, where you're like, why would I be so unique with this when everyone else is doing it?
Mhm.
And number one, because you have something that they don't.
Mm. It's a
Reminds me
struggle.
of
I
like
think that's a big
pizzerias,
struggle.
right? There's like so many fucking pizzerias. Like everyone wants to open a new
Yeah.
pizza, like a star, but why would you why? And then someone might be like, why? why do I have this urge and passion to be a pizza maker?
Right.
Because maybe you have like some dope shit that no one else is doing and you know it. And you just need to believe in yourself to show up and do it. And then you like fucking shut down other pizza places.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
But
yeah.
I had this thought, like, I think I was just a little moment for myself, like, why would I be so? Because I want to do certain things, and like, why would I be the best at this when everyone else seems to be doing a similar shit?
Mhm.
And I think it was just my way of like trying to avoid doing the work and like believing myself. But the more I like to compare myself in a healthy way, I like to listen to like the first radio show I did because
Right.
I was super nervous and different. It wasn't this Joe.
Mhm.
And I think it goes back to what we were just talking about, realizing like how far we've come and the differences and how because I forget how comfortable I am on social media, on camera and stuff, and a lot of people are still struggling to like show up on camera.
That was a huge thing for me. I've never gone back and looked at videos. I
Yeah.
have no desire.
So like I was watching a video the other day just yo, I'll put up random like YouTube video I did and then I'll get a message from, that I need to hear for myself or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I just can't listen to it because I'm like, oh, all right, that
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like one of the not my favorites, I guess,
Yeah.
whatever. But I was listening to a video I did when I was in my pre-soul awakening days of like I was like indigo. I found out it was an indigo starseed.
Hmm.
And I was like, yo, shout out to all my indigo people. I'm here to represent. I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? And people love it. But
Yeah.
Sarah says to have some tea for your cough.
Yeah, I
But
will definitely. Thank you.
I think if I were to share with you guys for everyone to like, this is a form of loving yourself to realize like the little things that maybe you weren't good at before.
Mm.
Because I'm one of those people that I need to show myself, and I'm really glad that we brought this topic up. So thank you. I really need to show and I like to do it more. Show myself like, look how this transpired today, and look how far you've come with this. And because I'm that person that sometimes it's like, well, I'm not where I fucking want to be yet,
Yeah,
and I
that's
need to
hard.
get better at my goal
Yeah,
setting.
that's
I'll be
so
honest.
hard. That's hard.
I it's really, here's the hard part. And this is with everything. It's not hard. And the reason why I say that first is because we all need to say that it's not that hard because we need to affirm it. But I
Right.
came across the video and I wrote it down. And the down the down low, the hard part is this. It's really just taking action to like do these things. And that's why I
Mhm.
wrote this down. So the video was talking about hiring an employee, but it really, for me, it was more. They're like, if they don't write this down, they're not going to be successful. But I started listening more, and it was they said write down goals today with a date, and then write down a list of 10 goals to accomplish in the next 12 months.
Mhm.
Write it as present. So I earn this, I achieve
Mhm.
this, I weigh this, I drive this car. Then say if you had a magical wand and you can make anything of these goals achievable in the next 24 hours, which one would it be? And the guy's like, you're going to know. It's going to jump out at you.
Right.
Circle it. And he says, transfer that to a new piece of paper. Write the goal on the paper with 7 steps. Write it down as the first one. The second one is the deadline. The third one. This is all like
Mm.
the blueprint to achieving what you need to achieve and doing. And what I've been doing has been good so far. It's been like the mental goals of, oh yeah, I need to do that thing or I want to do that thing. When you really want something, you're gonna go find a way to buy it.
Mm.
Like when you really, really want the thing, you're gonna go, I'm gonna find every way possible to make this happen.
Mhm.
But when there's something I don't know if I can say on here, but we need to take these steps to like certain levels. So like I'm gonna be honest. I want a house?
Mm.
Yes. But I really don't know what you fucking need to get a house. I know your credit's. I'm talking low because I'm kind of embarrassed about it, but like I don't know, and we have to learn how to get the answers
Mhm.
without feeling insecure, and then accomplishing the goal. Like I think we're afraid to go look at the car, to do the thing. And there's different levels to it. Maybe your credit score sucks, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
like, we have to show ourselves that we're worthy of the thing.
I agree with
So we have to put ourselves there or imagine it but we have to keep showing ourselves like this can be a way of me showing myself that I'm worthy.
that.
Yo,
Mhm.
man out of reach was supposed to, I thought he was going to leave and he stayed. We must be really good. um He's like, all right, I enjoyed your presence. I'll see you later. Not. No, that's cool. I'm just joking with you. But
Mhm.
but like show ourselves that we're worthy of what we want and that we are good enough. You know, whether you're insecure about your looks or what you know. One of the biggest things I've heard before is that if there's something you want to learn, teach others people about it. And that's literally like teach what you know, but then you're gonna actually wind up learning more about
Yeah.
it. Um, but this is all about like putting yourself in places that you want to be, and I think we're waiting for something to bring us to places, and show
That's
yourself that you're worthy of what you want and talk about it. Like thank you for honestly, like I want to say this, and I think I maybe we wrap it up because this is like one of my favorite things to say, and it's like one of those like fucking this is right here in a bow. I really started to get excited to try new things.
Mhm.
And it was a form of self love in a way, but it was my discovery. So, like, me trying affirmations, like, I didn't just try it and then put it down. Like, I put in effort and I was reflecting on it. And I was like, I noticed I did feel better about certain things. And so, what I really want to say for everyone is try new shit to help you evolve. Try try new things that resonate with you. Affirmations, give it some time, put some effort into it. See what works for you, see what doesn't. But like I think the worst case scenario that we can ever do or have is to get and it's not the worst case, but to not do anything, to stay stuck or to stay
Yeah.
in the same mindset and not to try. And they're on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of free shit to try. Like I remember it was affirmations and I learned more about um all these different spiritual things. I found myself into timeline jumping and all that stuff, but
Mhm.
that taught me about decisions.
Yeah.
If this didn't happen or I didn't choose this or I didn't choose that, I wouldn't be this Joe here. I wouldn't do this. We wouldn't have met. We wouldn't be
Yeah.
doing this. Like
Yeah.
timelines fascinate me and I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't go through this journey a certain way. Um, don't get me wrong, I had my moments where I was like trying to make shit happen, but like that was a part of what I would call scientific research, really hypothesis. Like you have to try
Try it. See what
shit.
happens.
Like because I've realized that there's so many people that are gonna say, oh, Kitty, like this Florida water is good for you, and this is good for this. And some people don't know the same practice. They're like, oh, well, this is from, Brazil. But really, for me, it's from Espiritismo and Santeria and all that. But so many people have different
Right.
experiences, perception, limited beliefs. What's good? Don't go on a jet ski. You're gonna die. Like because I know someone who died on a jet ski. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah.
we have to know for ourselves
Yeah.
to learn. So many people can say this worked for me,
Yeah.
but it might not work for
Uncomfortability creates
you, and
growth.
you might. And I think that the best way to really solve that problem is discover. And I
Mhm.
think that's really the what I was telling what we were talking about before, like doing the work.
Yeah.
And the work is putting the effort into you have to want to want it. You have to want to try it. Like the whole list thing that I wrote down, like I wrote down for reasons I want to do it, but I have to do that. And I have to be mindful of what are the 10 goals I really want? Because I don't know at the top of my head. Um Otherwise I'm gonna keep saying, oh, I don't know what I want. But I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to
Yeah,
accomplish these goals and
I
yeah,
think
say it.
I think that with being the uncomfortable that we keep talking about, it creates growth. I also think you have to understand, or we have to understand, that it is up to us if we want to stay in an uncomfortable situation that we don't like, or we can make ourselves uncomfortable for something that we do want. Either way, you're still
Mm,
uncomfortable. It's the same feeling. So that's
mm,
it's kind of like, yeah, you're uncomfortable and you don't like, say, use the job situation, you're uncomfortable with your job. Well,
mm,
turns out I was uncomfortable with my job. I'm also uncomfortable trying to do this, but it's so much better being uncomfortable doing something I love to see if it's going to work and see
mm,
where it goes than being uncomfortable in somewhere that I know is not
mm,
going to change, probably because it's not my place. So that makes sense. Like, we have to, like, it's kind of like closing off your heart to not ever even have friends or lovers or relationships or anything like that. You're literally going to be hurt no matter what you do. People are people.
mm.
You can choose to,
Sounded.
yeah, you can choose to just close off and not ever have
You're
friends.
gonna die no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just
true
kidding.
though. It's like, so
You're
why
gonna
not enjoy
die.
it? You know, it's like, why not enjoy it? And you're gonna feel the same no matter what. Then enjoy it, right? Enjoy it.
Well, yeah. Like, so in a business matter, if you're gonna open up, like, I don't care if it's like a restaurant, no matter what, even if you have an experience or knowledge here, like there's still something lacking, and
Yeah,
we're all gonna, I don't want to say fail. In order to be better and to succeed, we have to continue. Oh, I fell down. Let me get back up.
yeah. We have
Oh,
to
I
find
fell
what
down. Let me get
works and
back
what
up.
doesn't. Yeah.
And you know what? Here's a perfect example of how I can take this to a new level. I took out that garage door today, right? What's gonna happen is this, and I already like it clicked in my brain just now. I'm probably gonna have an employee somewhere that will take out a door. And I'm gonna have to remember, be like, I remember being that.
Yeah.
But that's not me, and that person's stupid. I'm just kidding. No, I remember being that. And I'm gonna have to be like, all right, look, it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And that's the type of shit I think that we go through sometimes, that it doesn't mean that you suck. It's just like the profoundness of how you will learn how to treat your employees or people later on, or how
Mhm.
you, that's really what this is about in life. Some shit happens to you, you go through it, hopefully you be a better person, and how you can turn that into treating others. Because you can either be hurt
Mhm.
and depressed and then you don't open up, but
Mhm.
in hopes you do, you know how to treat others the way you would like to be treated, or you need to be heard,
It's gonna
or
be because Rebel and I are gonna drive into your garage door when we come pick you up in our bus one day, and you're gonna have to be like, "It's okay." And
that's great.
we're like,
Love it.
"No." Yeah, that's it's just preparing you for that. It's
I
fun.
hope this does happen.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah. And then we'll do like the whole memorabilia, like this is the bumper to Salinas bus.
She said, "Don't jinx my." No, it could be you're like, "Hey, Kitty, run to the store," and I'm like, "All right." That's why I don't drive.
There's like a camera on that too. Still backing up.
It's so funny, so funny. Oh my
Yeah, I've
god.
gotten to the point where it's like, again? No, it's just, yeah. It's again? Like, yeah, whatever.
So funny.
You know when like the insurance company asks you like, so when was your last accident? Well,
It's like when someone says, "What's wrong with you?" and you're like, "How much time do you have?"
wow, let's go. Yeah, let's go right to it, huh?
You want to
Fuck,
know just
like,
two things? Like, I could keep you here all day.
Yeah. So, but yeah, being proud. I think I'm being proud of who I am more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that.
Yep.
I did it.
Nope. You're good. You're good. We love you and love your
I love
vulnerability.
you
And
guys.
yeah. So
Yeah. So if you guys ever go through something soon, you could be like, "Well, did I take out a big garage door like Joe?" And if it's no, I hope you feel better. Um, and if you're not sure, maybe you need to take one out. Just back
knock you
right
down a
up
notch.
into it. Dude, that was so like. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Out of reach. Um, but it was kind of funny. Honestly, reflecting back at it, because my coworker's face was like, because I heard noise. I was like, I looked at him. He was like, and then I stopped and pulled forward, and it was all slow. And I was beeping the horn too, letting people know, backing up. Did any of those people outside watching me say,
Stop.
"Oh wait, whoa, no, no one"? And so I backed forward. No, I pulled forward slowly because I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I look in the mirror because the mirror didn't show the door; it showed the gap. And all of a sudden, I see this door slam down, foam everywhere, fucking. And I was like, "Son of a bitch!" I was like, "I just want to do my job." It's just, I went for a walk. I was like, "Fucking bullshit." But I pulled up today because it was the same day. I came back and there was like two panels that were new on the bottom. Like, they took out the two that was broken. I was like, all right, look at that. I took a picture of it to remind myself, like, look, this too can be fixed.
It can be fixed. Yes.
Yeah, it can be fixed. It's a door. Um, Doors are replaceable. You know what's really important?
Yeah. The
The
lesson.
biggest the biggest challenge is, yeah, the lesson is for me, and I'm getting better at it, is to realize what's important and how to not get stuck in that feeling. And that feeling can be shitty sometimes. It's like,
Oh.
it could be a fight, it could be an argument, it could be a person, it could be a door, it could be
Yeah.
um and I was joking with my friend about this earlier too. I was like, is there like a spiritual door that was open? And I just like fucking um but to like leave it alone, or to, how do you get past that? And I think for me it was, because we can talk to people all day about it, but I had to be like, okay, I love myself, it's all right, and then move
Yeah.
on. It
Yeah.
happens, all right.
Yeah. And
Not
usually our
everyone.
biggest lessons are surrounding things that really are trivial. Like I said, who moved my cup? Everybody always moves my cup. And it's like, why am I mad because my cup is moved? Like it's just those lessons that are there. So
You know
well,
how many times I'm starting, you remind me of something that's funny. I I was notorious for like that. Who, where is it? Where is it? And I noticed that and I stopped myself when I'll get upset and like do the whole where is it? My brain goes, do you know that every time you do this, you find it and it's no one else's fault but yours? And I'm like, okay. So I know where it is. And because
yeah.
that last time I did it, I was like, where is it? And it was in my room.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I'm like, I like to
So
keep things everywhere so I know where they're at. And when they're out of sight, out of mind, they're gone into the abyss. So,
so there's, and I don't want to say this the wrong way. There's what do they call that? Multiple personality disorder, where there's people who are aware of themselves in a way where they leave notes for themselves. You know this? You know about that?
it's probably multiple personality. Yeah.
Yeah, so they know when like this other personality comes in,
Leaving a note so they know.
and yeah, it's fucking weird, but I guess like I can't blame myself, my other self. Like having spirit guides is not multiple personality disorder,
No.
but like there's people that I guess they don't remember, and
Mhm.
they'll be a different person, and I don't know why I thought about this.
I'm so
I am grateful.
on a different note, like on that note, I'm obsessed with shows that talk about that because I think it's so intriguing. So, yeah,
It is
it
intriguing.
is. It is. There's
So I
one that
guess I guess that's why I brought it up.
yeah, there's one that I watched and she had 12
Damn it,
different personalities.
Patricia.
She had 12 different personalities and each one painted or was an artist. Each one would paint and was an artist. And so each one did these
Interesting.
beautiful paintings of trauma and like healing through it, but they were all done like each one did different art, different art. And so she had an art gallery that her daughter had helped her
Ooh.
do, but like there would be like one from a child's perspective, and she didn't remember doing any of them really, unless she was in that personality.
From what I understand, they're like trauma responses. So
Yeah.
when you feel a certain way, the or when someone feels a certain way, they get shifted into the other personality, and that's fucking. It's all separated. So I was curious, and I was talking to my mom. She's into like mental health and all that. She's director of mental health. And I was like, so is it like this? And she was saying that they're like separated parts of the one. From what I remember, they're
Fragmented
separated
parts of the
parts of the
system.
one personality, but they become like
Very separate.
different.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So like the little girl
yeah.
stays a little girl and
Sorry, that was
yeah.
the other.
Yeah. No, it's so fascinating. It is. And it's
Yeah, they'll
where
leave.
everything's separated, not integrated. Yeah.
I'm fascinated with the mind
Mhm.
because we live. This is where we're at. This is where we settled and we're in the brain.
Yeah.
And I'm learning more about how yes, there's as within, so without. Yeah, there's this whole, but the brain, the mind is such a magnificent. Really, like I know it sounds simple. The when you what you believe is really like what you create. And the whole limited belief thing, I think it's healthy to dive into because somewhere deep in our subconscious minds is the whole limit of why we're not believing in something or we need to readdress it. But
Mhm.
like you can do so many I think we got to be careful of the mind like because if you're too I've noticed that some people are too vulnerable and they'll take on knowledge, but then they'll adapt it too quickly and their reality shifts because that's what's going to happen. When you start to make a conscious connection to what you're learning, you will start to notice in your reality. Plus, if you focus on something enough, you attract it.
Yeah.
So
And you
you
usually
think
can't
about
go
red
back
cars, you're
from
gonna see
that.
red cars everywhere. You keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. You usually can't go back from it
No,
happening. So that's like you said, yeah, like numbers or whatever, like 1111.
oh well,
Always,
the awareness of it.
yeah. Yeah. You can't take
Once
that.
you're aware of it, yeah, you can't go back
Yeah.
because I think it's a good thing now. You
Yeah.
just gotta move forward with it. But the mind is such a fascinating. I wish let's see what the words psychology, I guess. I didn't know. I remember telling my mom I was like, I'm fascinated with this mind stuff. I thought it was all spiritual. She's like, why don't you go to school for it? I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, that's psychology. I went, oh. Like I was like, what? But I think it's so cool. Like I'll spend my morning and night sometimes finding new things to add to my brain's concept of perceiving life because it's all about our perception.
Hmm.
Raising our consciousness is the dimensional perception. So if you're in through the third dimension, that's your conscious perception of that dimensional thinking. And
Hmm.
then when you raise your consciousness, there's different dimensional spaces like, they say like time doesn't exist or whatever. I don't necessarily hold on to those. Not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I like to explain it as some people say you become the observer. So you're looking outward on you and another person. Your ego is separated from it. So you see, like, why is this person in my life? And you learn
Right.
to, like, see it in a heightened experience on a higher level. You're not looking at it from the one person or you. you're looking at it as an energy and law of attraction.
Mhm.
You're looking at it with love and light in the sense of, what do I need to learn about this? What is this person? Why is this happening?
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to, even for me, like we mentioned earlier, but I didn't think about this. It's not, I think there's a time and a place, but because then it goes into the collective,
Yeah.
eventually you go into a collective conscious or God conscious, all that other fun stuff. Um, but I do believe that we're meant to fluctuate. That's my personal opinion. Like
Yeah, I
you
agree
can
with that.
maintain it here. You're also you're also perceiving your life based on also where your chakra is too. That's another thing. If you're operating out of insecurity of safety and
Mhm.
materials, there's like the root chakra issue. That's
Yeah.
but how you see yourself. And I think what helped me a lot, which is crazy to say, but there is the matrix mentality,
Mhm.
knowing that you are, I guess, an avatar of a
Mhm.
human, and the old perspective of your parents and you're born, there's a different perspective to what they would say like as the matrix, in that really we're all from a star seed cluster, and that
Mhm.
we've played different roles before, and we're just living out different realities, but then it goes into different waves of taking the way that I first perceived it, or what they were saying was like taking your role back and learning to write your own script
Mhm.
type of thing. And it kind of like, is my shit glitching?
It has been off and on. It's not
Yeah.
now.
Um, but at first it was kind of like this like fear state, like they call it the ego death, where it's like, oh shit, I don't know, like,
Yep.
and it's just that transition of the unknown into the new conscious adapting. But
Love
I'm a
that.
definite fan of paradigm shifts and timeline shifts and all that.
I am too. Yeah.
But I think the mind is such a magnificent place.
It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting
I don't know.
things.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump off here and go take some medicine. I won't say the D word. I'm going to take some medicine because my nose is squeaking.
Dayquil?
Yes, NyQuil probably.
Are you allowed to say that?
I hope.
Is that the D word?
The D- yeah, yeah. No. I
The
was going to
D word
say
for Dayquil.
what they all medication is starts with a D. I figured that would flag me because you know how they are. You know,
Yeah.
drugs. Yeah, rugs. All the
I really
rugs.
didn't know what you were talking about at first. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a
Yeah, the
Vicks.
rug.
I have so much Vicks. It's yeah. I haven't slept in a couple nights because I'm rolling side to side doing that thing, and I know Rebel is too. I'm like, I'll lay on this
Um,
side, and it comes here. I'll lay on this side. So, but I'm
I'm a
gonna do
big fan
that.
of
I love
the
you. Thank you for coming
Dayquil.
on, and it was a good time. Always.
Namaste.
You guys have a beautiful night. Go show some love
Have
everywhere
a
you
good
can.
night,
Anyway,
everyone.
thanks for coming on. Thanks for being my friend and having the
Yeah, thanks
conversations
for
we
having me
have.
as always. It was great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll talk
I'll
to you.
send you
I'm
the
sure
bill for
tomorrow.
being your friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.